Welcome to the Do You Like Films podcast with me, Michael, and my main man, Shaun.
Hello, how are you?
And my big black brother, Curtis.
Yo, dog.
He's not black, though.
May as well be.
He's not a dog either.
Right, we're going to be talking this week about a Netflix film called The Final Girls. It's a horror comedy. I'm going to let one of you guys explain the premise, 'cause I'm not very good at explaining the premise, and it's a very strange idea for a film. Which one of you would like to explain it?
You do the first half, and then I'll do the second half.
That's really awkward.
I'll do it awkwardly.
And we'll just be giving a basic description of it to start, and then we'll let you know when we're going to be talking spoilers. And just to start, I recommend this film. I think it's bloody good.
I think we all do, don't we?
We'll get into it.
Oh.
Okay, so Shaun or Curtis, would you like to explain?
Yeah, so the Final Girls, as Michael said, a horror comedy in the vein of Cabin in the Woods, but more funnier than that. And in the vein of Behind the Mask, the rise of Leslie Vernon. A movie that takes the horror genre and kind of flips it on its head and makes it slightly different and takes a new stance on it. So this movie features some girls and some boys, and they go to this movie theatre and they're watching a movie. It's like an 80s sort of camp slasher movie, and
Very similar to Friday the 13th, isn't it?
well, it's essentially Friday the 13th. They're watching it, but the main girl's mum is in the movie, and she sort of has passed away, so she's all sort of teary-eyed. But this movie has got sort of an almost cult status, like a Troll 2 sort of status, where everyone's like, "Oh, I love this movie because it's so shit," and the girl's like, "Well, my mum's in it, and you know, she couldn't get jobs because this movie's really balls." But then disaster strikes in the movie theatre, and then I'll leave you to do the rest, Curtis.
And then, so basically, no spoilers, I guess, but whatever. So something happens in the theatre, and they essentially go into the film.
Well, the thing is, like, what I was thinking is, why were there people smoking and drinking in the theatre? Like, is that allowed? I don't know about American
Maybe it's
laws,
a different
but-
kind of time period. Maybe it isn't like
No,
now.
I think it was set in today, whereas the movie was set in the 80s. But I didn't think people could smoke and drink in movie theatres now. But I guess it was in America, and it was like an indie
That's
kind
the
of
thing that leads them going into the film. A fire is caused by...
Oh, you spoiled it.
well, if we're
I'm
talking about
joking.
smoking and drinking in the theatre,
Yeah,
a fire is caused, which leads them having to find the exit through the film. So they end up in the film.
Yeah, so
And
it's,
they take it from there, Curtis.
so it's basically a group, so a couple of girls, a couple of guys, and they end up in the film. And from there, basically, they realise that this is the film that they're in, because they just end up in the middle of nowhere, and they work out what's going on and everything. And obviously, the girl that lost her mum decides that she wants to get closer to her mum and make sure that she doesn't die in the film like she does all the time on the screen, because she can't really handle that, I suppose. And so they go on adventures, do some wacky stuff, meet all the cast and all that kind of jazz, and yeah.
Then they soon realise that they're stuck in the film, and the only way to beat the film, because there's a nerd amongst the group who loves the film and understands the rules. He's sort of like the character in Scream that explains about all the horror killings and what happens in films.
Yeah.
And by him explaining what happens, they realise that they need the film to end with the final girl being a virgin, killing... I can't remember the name of the... Billy, the... who's the killer? He's the equivalent
AKA
of Jason, yeah.
Mm.
He had a horrible experience and he's passed at the camp.
Yeah, and he only arises when something sexual happens. So like when people are about to kiss or undress, and that's when he will appear.
Yeah, and that's the general plot of the film. So, Shaun, what did you think to it?
Well, I don't think I liked it as much as you guys. I think that it was an interesting premise. I didn't quite get some of the bits that went on to it, and I guess we can talk sort of spoilers later on. If people are listening to this and they want to go and check out The Final Girls on Netflix and then join back in with the podcast, we can sort of talk in depth. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good movie. I thought it was quite funny, but the only really funny part was Adam Devine.
Yeah, I absolutely love him. He's from the TV series Workaholics.
Yeah, I thought he was really funny. He was stereotypical, horny, over the top
Jock.
teenage jock. And for him it kind of worked, and sort of at the end of the movie you get to see a few of the outtakes, and you can just see his process where I'm sure they just sat him in a car and just said, right, you're a horny guy, just say loads of inappropriate things and we'll pick the best bits and we'll cut them into the movie. And it was quite funny. A lot of it was very much like, look at me, I'm outrageous and I'm saying something about balls and tits and look at my dick.
That's his normal MO, really, isn't it, to be honest?
And if you like that kind of thing, like, and you like him,
If you like balls and tits.
you like dick jokes and ball jokes, and hey, look, I got big muscles and a big dick, and hey, we're gonna have sex because I'm a real cool guy. You know, if you like that sort of stuff, and if you like Adam Devine, then I think you'll like this movie. So I thought he carried the humor pretty well. However, there were a few annoying characters. The character of Tina, who was the ditzy kind of slutty girl. She annoyed the fuck out of me. I couldn't stand her.
I thought she was good.
Yeah, I thought she was a really good actor.
She annoyed me so much. And I know that's
was her part,
That was her character to be like the sort of ditzy, like, oh, look at me, I strip off and I'm a bit of a slut and I make mistakes, but I'm cute, so everybody likes me. I was like, fuck off, man.
Can we go into spoiler territory now? Is it allowed?
Yeah, I think
Like the bit where she takes, is it Adderall? I don't know, the drug anyway that's used, that she finds, and she goes all like
ADHD medication.
Yeah, and she goes all crazy. I was like, I thought she was a pretty good actor, dude.
I thought
That annoyed me even more. I
'cause
was like,
she's
God, she's like that annoying times 10 now. I was like, Jesus Christ, can Billy just murder her already?
But I don't
Spoiler
know.
alert, he does.
Yeah.
I was happy about that.
I don't know. I really liked her. Like, I don't think that there was any cast member that I really disliked, I suppose, to be honest with you.
I thought they all played the part of like. There's a part when the nerdy guy who loves the horror film says, "Oh my god, you're so badly written."
Yeah.
Which is such
Yeah.
a good joke because some of those characters would have been, they're so cliche. Like, this is your role. You're the shy girl.
Yeah.
You're this. You're that. So I thought, you know, I think one of the questions is like, could you annoying characters in films? In real life, there are annoying people. So surely you should be annoyed. Like, isn't it not good that you felt an emotion towards her, that you felt annoyed? Is that not a good thing? That in real life you'd get annoyed at someone like that?
Yeah, but it takes away from the movie for me. Like, if there's an annoying character, because like I didn't find like her characterization annoying. I just felt the acting was over the top, and it was just all a bit too much. And I think it was. I know the movie was a little bit over the top. It's sort of, they're trying to take this 80s vibe and they're trying to meld comedy and horror and sort of mix the two together really well. But she just kind of pulled me out, and I was just sort of sat there and I was like, oh, this is can we not go on her again? And you know, her when the characters get sort of transported into the film, one of the girls has a phone on her and she has a sort of a case which has like a cassette, and she's trying to put the phone into the cassette, but what's this thing? It's like, oh, just come on, are you really that dumb? Just to ask some normal questions. She's trying to eat. I can't put a phone in my mouth, it's not connected to a cable.
She's changing into a hillbilly.
I'm not very good at accents, but it was just those things where it's like, okay, I get you're a dumb person, but like, really, are you that dumb? Like, come on.
But everything else in the film is fucking fantastic, I think. Well, even her I like, but like the whole vibe, and like the whole, you know, we're stepping into a film, so we have to step over the, you know, the words where it says,
that
you
was
know,
really,
certain
really cool.
things, and then credits at the end as well.
Yeah, I thought that was wicked. I love the way they
and-
were running through to escape a bit, and they couldn't get out of that moment. They had to play through the film.
And then in the end, there's a twist of Bloodbath 2 or Blood Camp Blood, whatever 2.
But I really liked it because it sort of started off and it established that universe quite well, because like the characters, they sort of stumble into this like foresty area, and then there's a road, and then the characters from the movie, they come in their little camper van and they're like, hey dudes, how's it going? You know, we're just going to camp. We're camp counselors.
You lift?
And they're like, no, we're right. And then they go off, and then the characters are waiting around for like 92 minutes. And then the car comes round again. They're like, hey guys, we're counselors. They're like, you need a lift? And they're like, what on earth is going on? They're still trying to figure out what's going on. Are they in a movie? Are they dreaming? Are they dead? They're not quite sure. And then another 96 minutes rolls around, 92 minutes, and the nerdy guy's like, right, here they come, 3, 2, 1, and then they come back around again. So that's obviously the length of the movie. I thought that was a really cool thing. And then they know to get out of that world, they need to, like Michael said, sort of interact with the movie and go along with the rules and finish the movie, essentially.
I also really like the montage bit, like, you know, when they're setting up all the traps ready, and
I love that.
anything with a good montage, man. I'm always about that. Like, it just makes the characters seem like way more badass.
I thought that scene was great. But one thing that I thought was surprising about it was I thought it was scary. I thought it was really funny, but I thought it was emotional as well. I really loved the last sort of 20 minutes between, this girl who's lost her mother as a chance to speak to her again, or a form of her again. And when she finally admits, "No, you were my mum," and then her mum sort of speaks on behalf of her mum, not actually being her mum.
Yeah.
That really moved me. And the fact that her mum, this is a massive spoiler, sacrifices herself so that her daughter can get out. And the way in which it happens, they bring the song back that meant so much to them at the start. It did make me well up. And I thought, considering it made me laugh so much and made me scared, to have a moment like that just came out of nowhere. And I thought, and then that last fight, I thought was so over the top and cool. I loved the background, the way that the lightning was coming down, and I thought it was a film that was so aware of itself. Do you know what I mean? It was. Yeah, I really, really, really liked it.
As a premise for a film, I can't really think, apart from like Cabin in the Woods, I guess. Like, I can't really think of anything else that's been done that well like that, I suppose.
No, and considering it was essentially a low budget sort of indie flick.
You could even tell it was kind of low budget from like, I don't know.
And you could tell from some of the
camera
CGI, like it wasn't the greatest. There was a part when Adam Devine's character gets hit by a car and his legs are over the top of his back, and you're like, that looks a bit janky. That doesn't look quite as good. But I forgave the movie because I was aware that it was a low budget flick, and it didn't have sort of worldwide attention. Probably didn't have $1 billion budget.
I want to mention the flashback. That was a cool idea as well. Like how when they say flashback and stuff, so basically the whole place goes all grey and like starts dripping, and then they go into that world.
The main character's mum, who's in the movie, she tells the folk tale of Billy. Is it Murphy? Billy Murphy?
Yeah.
Tells the tale of Billy Murphy, and then it sort of all goes black and white, and you can hear her voiceover. But the characters in the movie, they're living the flashback, and they can hear the voiceover, and they can see the text on the ground, where it's like summer of 19 whatever 50, and they see the origins of the character Billy. I really, really liked that, but I didn't quite get the rules, if that makes sense. Like, I get that you would go in a flashback, but then to interact with the flashback and sort of change the flashback kind of didn't make sense to me. If like the second time they have a flashback, they're sitting in the sort of, I guess it's like a dike part, and they're about to get like murdered by Billy, and they're like, quick, go into a flashback, and the lady starts talking, once upon a time there was a and then it goes all black and white, and the weird sort of like
drip effect.
Yeah, like a drip
suppose.
effect that almost makes like a force field, like he can't get to them. And then they have the flashback, and Billy ends up further back in the forest, and they end up with a machete. I didn't quite get how that worked. It was like, I know it's sort of like a dream thing, but you can affect dreams, but then the outcome is different. So why didn't you just like murder him in the dream?
I agree
go
with
back
you.
and kill Billy when he was in the 50s. He was a little nerdy kid getting picked on.
I honestly thought that they were gonna just like help Billy, kill all the camp people, and then make sure Billy was okay, and so he doesn't turn out to be a killer.
But that would have been a cool thing, like if they'd have gone back to that moment where they stick the firecrackers into the toilet and he runs off screaming, and it kind of goes to a different house. I thought like that maybe they're going to go back and speak to him and sort of see his origins and why he came about. I thought it would have been interesting, like you said, if they'd have stopped him from being abused and stopped him from this horrific thing, but then it turns out he's a murderer anyway. I think that'd have been a cool thing. Like, you're trying to subvert it and saying that this particular moment turned him into a murderer, but when in fact he was a murderer all along. It was just something else that tipped him over. They could have gone back to a different place or found out in Camp Bloodbath 2 and like, oh, so it wasn't the firecrackers that did it to him, the bullying. It was,
he was a psycho.
He was
anyway.
abused by his mother, or he was drowned as a kid, like Jason or whatever.
I agree with you, but it's one of those things where if you're going with a film, you forgive the bits that you overthink, I think. And because I was so invested and I was loving it so much, I didn't really think about the things that didn't really quite add up. And with a film like that, it's got such a strange premise, there's going to be things that don't add up. Like so it's 92 minutes when they're waiting at the bus stop, but then clearly it's not 92 minutes because it goes from day to night when they're actually in the film. So there are bits that don't, but because I was so enjoying it so much, I went with it. Whereas for me, like when you're struggling with the film, that's when you start really thinking about those little moments. The fact that that's the only moment for you that you really sort of go, well, hang on, that doesn't really make sense, I think shows that you were interested in it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Doing it.
I
Definitely.
just remembered how that annoying girl died as well, and she just fall back into a bear trap.
Yeah, I was happy about that. That's fine. That's pretty
That
good.
was good. I enjoyed that.
Another thing, like I'm nitpicking here, just because I can be sort of playing devil's advocate. Because if all three of us are sitting around going, "This was a great movie," it's going to be a very short podcast.
Yeah,
so
that's the
I'm trying
thing.
to offer up alternatives for you guys. Do you not think the whole idea of the slasher movie was a bit on the nose? It's almost like they could have done something more creative with it, not just had this kid who comes with a machete and has a mask on, because that's very Jason Voorhees. They could have mixed it up a little bit, maybe thrown in something different. Maybe he didn't have a machete and he had like a hammer or something, just to make it different from Jason. It was so very much Jason. It felt like they just said, okay, we've got this cool premise, but we don't have to concentrate too much on what the movie was. Like, they had the opportunity to make their own horror movie within this horror comedy movie, and it would have been sort of even more meta, if that makes sense. I think that would have been really cool.
I mean, I think the reason they did that was mainly to evoke, films for a nostalgia factor. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's so iconic, like Jason and all that kind of stuff.
But if they wanted to, they could have drawn on even more nostalgia. They could have had like a mask that had like a white face, and instead of a machete, had like finger claws or something, and he wears a boiler suit, and he's like an amalgamation of several different iconic horror villains.
That would have been sick. That'd have been sick.
They could have made him into this character, but for me, it was just like it was Jason Voorhees, and that was the only thing.
I did think the mask was a bit shit. I won't lie. Like it wasn't
that was
like
part
great,
of it.
but it was part of it. Wasn't it? It's like
Shaun said earlier, it's a film that's sort of seen like Trolls 2. Do you know what I mean? Trolls 2 is laughably good because it's so bad. So if you take that approach to it, he does look a bit naff, and I think that adds to him.
Yeah.
That he's a bit rubbish. He's not, when you see Jason in the films, it's really cool looking. But
terrifying.
this guy's he's terrifying in the fact that he just keeps coming at you. But
while people are coming,
oh come on, mate. But he does look a bit. His mask was a bit rubbish. That's what I liked. That
But overall, I mean, I love the film, and I recommend it to basically everyone at the moment. When I'm on Facebook, I'm like, have you seen this? If not, you should. So for me, it must have struck a chord, because it kind of, I think anything 80s inspired, like, the Stranger Things and anything like that, it always grips me for some reason. And this film really did grip me.
Love a bit of nostalgia, do you?
Oh, I wasn't even born in the 80s, so no. I just like the vibe, I guess.
Oh, that's
all
cool.
that Vice City,
Yeah. I would recommend the movie if you like things like Cabin in the Woods or Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Cool horror movies with an interesting premise that sort of take it and subvert it a little bit. A few annoying characters for me. I liked the main girl of Max. I thought she was pretty good. She had good motivations. Like you said, Michael, I liked the dynamic between her and her mum, and her mum's on-screen character. That did get me, because it pulled on the heartstrings, because you were like, oh, this girl misses her mum. This is her only opportunity to speak to her and sort of not reconcile things, but sort of have some sort of like saving grace for this whole thing. I didn't really see the point much of the kind of the love interest of Chris. He kind of felt a bit redundant for me. Like, I thought if he wasn't there, then it wouldn't make much of a difference. He only had one part where like he was like, you can do this, but like she could have figured it out by herself.
I like that guy, because generically, he wasn't that handsome. Do you know what I mean? Like, he had a bit of quirkiness to his face. Like,
I thought he was just a generic handsome guy.
I don't know.
Okay.
I thought it was all right. That's
Yeah,
all
but
I've got
like,
to say about
what did
him,
he really bring to it? Like, he didn't.
He was the one that was like looking after her, and
And
like
the thing was, like, the love wasn't really kind of between them. The love interest essentially was between mother and daughter, not in a really subverted way, but it was a mother-daughter vibe. It was more about them reconciling and their love and their song and
For me,
their story. That it was just like, oh, you're gonna make it now, and that's all good now.
For me, I found that he was like kind of because he knew about the mum and everything, like dying and all that kind of stuff. So obviously he was, I don't know, I felt like he was kind of just looking after her, looking out for her, as well
But
as
do you not
being
think
like,
it would have
I want
made
a
her a
puppy.
stronger character if she could have looked out for herself, kind of thing?
No, she did in the end, I guess. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
and my final thoughts on it, just It's a wicked film. I absolutely loved it, and I'd recommend it to anyone. We've got a little bonus for this week, which Curtis has prepared, which is going to be called Curtis's Netflix recommendations.
Recommendation.
And this is obviously at the point of recording now. They may or may not come back on Netflix or the main, but
Yeah, I mean, Netflix is so it always changes. But so everyone mostly has Netflix, okay? So the films that I've seen recently that I've kind of really enjoyed are like Sing Street. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Sing Street at all.
I got it the other day.
Yeah, did you like it?
I thought it was all right.
Like,
Yeah,
it's a good watch, isn't it? It keeps you gripped, and it's like it's like basically a rebellion film, like kind of an underdog film,
Did
as
you
well
like
as
it because there was a lot of 80s nostalgia?
well, yes,
There's a theme here, isn't
it
there?
kind of reminded me of School of Rock without the comedy, a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like people practicing in that, but I
is,
found it a real solid film that like you can just sit down and enjoy. You know, it's
Essentially,
good.
it's sort of like an Irish film, a love story of a kid who grows up in a school and he kind of gets a little bit bullied. So he's just like, hey, how can I get the hot girl? I'll make a band. And he makes this sort of Duran Duran, The Cure 80s inspired band. And they make crappy music videos. And, it's a sort of nice
like,
little love story.
It's like what I wanted to do like when I was growing up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
like
get
all
that.
that kind of stuff. And yeah, I really love that film. Also, is minuscule. I think it's called The Valley of something. I can't even remember because it's kind of a French film. And it's basically just really, amazing shots around the world of like different like forests and all that kind of stuff. But with these little, really cute ladybird CGI kind of things. And like, it's called Battle of the Ants or War of the Ants, something like that. So basically, it's to do with like a ladybird that finds like a load of sugar, and the black ants, they pick it up, take it back to their camp, but then the red ants see it, and there's a war over it. It's a good film, but it's dead slow, and there's like no voice at all, just like that kind of
like music and stuff. Or?
Oh yeah, there's music and stuff like that, and like it builds up, and like if you just want to chill out with a film and enjoy it, just enjoy it, because it's like I don't know really else what to say about that film, to be honest.
Sounds obscure. Sounds
It is
interesting.
very obscure. Like if you just want to chill out, just watch that film, because it's a lot of shots of just forests.
Sounds
I
like The
kind of
Revenant,
liked
then.
it. Yeah. Also, Green Room.
Green Room, fantastic.
Green Room is fantastic. The guy, what's his name?
Anton Yelchin.
Yeah, it's a shame what happened to him, because he is a really good actor, and that film is really good. It's basically just about a band stuck in a room when loads of shit goes out on outside or something.
Yeah, they're a band. They're sort of like a hardcore punk band, and they just want to play shows, and they're on tour, and they're like, "Hey, can we play a gig?" And the guy's like, "I know some people, but it's a bit dodgy." And it turns out that they're like a KKK sort of Nazi underground base, and then some stuff goes down, and it's pretty damn good. And there's a link from Green Room to the Final Girls, because Alia Shawkat was in both movies. She was the guitarist in Green Room, and then she plays the auntie of Max in Final Girls. And
Auntie? She's a friend.
I thought she was her auntie or something.
No, I thought she was her best friend.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I think she was the best friend. The one that falls in love with the
black guy.
The black guy, yeah.
And you might recognise Alia Shawkat from Arrested Development, if you're a fan of that. Also on Netflix, I'd recommend that as well.
Yeah.
This is your segment. I'm sorry,
no,
I'm
that's cool.
hijacking.
You
it.
could call that Shaun's linking segment.
Yeah, you can have a linking segment in my segment. And the last film I've got for you is a classic, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Now, this is just a film that's out there, and I can't really think of any other film like it. It's basically... So, it's really hard to describe this film, right?
Coen Brothers, right?
Yeah, it's Coen Brothers, and it's basically to do with like three guys just having an adventure. They form a band, and just some other crazy shit happens, really. And the songs that they make are really good, and I really enjoy that
sort of
film.
like American country,
Yeah.
sort of like
In constant sorrow, all through the land.
I am a man.
am a man.
Everybody
of
just switched off the
constant
podcast there.
sorrow. Yeah, I really love that song so much. But yeah, so that is my recommendations for Netflix.
Boom.
So go out, have a watch, and enjoy.
And of
Thank
course, if
you.
you have any recommendations for your Netflix recommendations, you can hit us up on the email, doyoulikefilms@gmail.com, or on the Twitter @doyoulikefilms. Make sure you hashtag it doyoulikefilms. And you can also...
Don't forget about the YouTube, where you can just put a comment below and like and subscribe for more content.
Thanks very much. You've been listening to the Do You Like Films podcast with Shaun
Hello.
and Curtis.
Yo.
And me, Michael. See you next time.